Hey folks, good evening. Welcome everyone, and a very happy Easter to you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for always joining. Weekends, 7 p.m. West African time to talk money, the economy, and of course finance with me, Kalu Aja. I appreciate it, and I thank you guys for being here. Today is Easter. We want to essentially thank we made it this far and celebrate family, which is all what it's all about. But we also want to talk around the financial literacy week, which is what April is. The whole of April is going to be financial literacy. So I want to touch around those core concepts of financial literacy, right? And that's what we're going to do today. As usual, I have a small presentation, maybe about 10-15 minutes on YouTube and also on Twitter. I'll try to share the slides, and I would encourage you, if you have comments or questions, ask on the YouTube, ask on Twitter, and I will definitely answer. Even if I don't answer during the session, I will make sure that I go back to it and I give you guys an answer. So it's lots of information, and I think visuals, lots of folks have told me they really like the visuals that we share when we have the spaces, right? It makes them sort of follow and it sinks in. They can go back and look at them, and it does give them that extra learning. So we want to keep on doing that. So if you're on YouTube or you're on Twitter, we do share the visuals even as we speak, right? Excellent. So today's topic is how to build a financially secure future. And there are many ways to talk around this, right? Many ways to talk around how you can build your financial future. Many ways. And I think if you've been a follower of our spaces, you would have heard a lot of what we're going to say today. They're not proprietary, they're not new, but we want to keep on emphasizing them. Just that way it sort of sinks in and you can do them. Remember, if you learn and you don't do, you really haven't done anything. You've got to make sure that you take these learnings and you do them. It's only by doing that you then become, better at it. And these are not like hard things to do. These are things that you already might have been doing, but not in a very, should we say, organized format. This will only give you the way to do it in a very organized format, so that way you can maximize exactly what you're doing. So let's get right into it, guys. And again, all through the month of April, I'm going to be sharing a specific tweet that is around financial literacy. So every single day, we're on day 5 already. So every day, if you go to to my Twitter page, you'll be able to tweet there on financial literacy. I think we did emergency fund today. Yesterday we did budgets and everything. And if you look at the theme, I've themed it to speak to women. It's for everyone, but I've tried to theme it to speak to women in the US and in Nigeria. Why? Because I do a lot of research on this, and Nigerian women there's a big gap in investing in Nigeria between males and females. It's the same in jobs, same in unemployment, and now in investing, where there are more men that invest than women. I'm not sure why. I saw a report that said women don't take risks, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The woman would rather save money than invest, which is good and bad. So they always have that emergency fund, right? But they don't grow the principal. So the idea is we want to do a lot of just encourage the women and the queens out there to get into investments, right? It's good to save, and you cannot invest without saving. But you've got to invest, because especially in an economy like Nigeria, you've got to grow your principal faster than inflation, or do a business. That's the only way you get your head above water. So savings is very good, but you've got to grow that principal and take it from just saving to investing. So the tweets are all themed towards female, but it's for everyone. But I specifically want to go after the female demographic, just so they understand. I mean, in any metric you look at, women are far behind. If you look at the Nigerian stock, who buys stocks in Nigeria, it's a pittance. It's 10% or less of the population of Nigeria that actually buys stocks. Of that 10%, about 5% have an active account. Of that 5%, it's like maybe 10% that are female. So you see the gap. So we want to make sure that we're talking and we're encouraging the queens out there to invest, right? Excellent. So let's go into our program. So like I said, guys, if you want, ask a question. I'll make sure I get to it. Even if I don't talk to it after during the session, I'll make sure I respond to your question. So let's start with what we want to do. How do we build this financially secure future? These are the steps you want to take. And guys, you see, I numbered them on purpose. The computer did the bullet points, but I numbered them 1, 2, 3 to 6. You've got to go from 1 to 6. You can't start from 4. You can't do 6 and say, okay, I'm doing 6, I'm going to go back and do 2. No, you've got to go from 1 to 6. That's the way you want to do it. So if you look on the YouTube and the Twitter feed, you will see what I'm sharing right there as regards to 1 to 6. The very, very first thing you want to do, you have to have a financial plan. You have to say what you want to achieve. So the plan is very, very simple. Where are you today? Where do you want to be in 10, 20 years? That big gap, how are you going to fund it? That's essentially what your plan is. It's not complicated. Where are you today? Where do you want to be tomorrow? How are you going to fund it? What do you need to learn? Where do you need to invest to get there? That essentially is a financial plan. It's not that difficult. So you sit down. If you have a partner, you sit together, you do your plan together. If it's just you, you do your plan. You have to have a plan so that way you know where you are going to and you don't deviate too much, right? If you don't know where you're going, anywhere will take you there, right? If you don't know where you're going or where markets fall, you want to sell. But if you have a plan, you're more into that plan, right? So number 2, the thing you want to do first after you set up your plan is to ask yourself, do I have dependents? If you have dependents, you want to buy life insurance first before you do anything. Why? You can't insure your life. There's nothing like life insurance per se. What you are buying is insurance against a loss of income. So if you have a dependent, maybe you have a partner and you have children, the very, very first thing you want to buy is life insurance, because if anything happens to you, your dependents and your partners then have something to fall back on. And there are many ways you can do this. If you have a house, you bought a house, you're paying a mortgage, you want to buy life insurance that corresponds with the mortgage, right? So if anything happens to you, you take the life insurance, you pay the mortgage, your family has a house they can live in rent-free. That's a gift you can give them. Other ways you can do it, you can buy life insurance, you put a trustee company as the beneficiary, not your dependents. You put a trustee company as a beneficiary. Then you tell the trustee company, these funds are going to be used to educate my children, give them a salary till they are 35 or whatever, and then contribute to my church or to my soccer team. You put all that in your trust. So if anything happens to you, you pay 1 naira. Something happens to you tomorrow, the sum assured goes to your trustees. Your trustees use those funds to educate your kids, to do all what you set out in that trust deed according to your wishes. You can do a testamentary trust, which means even if you pass on, they follow those guidelines exactly. Even if you pass on, you can't challenge it because the funds are owned by the trust. So there are many ways to do this, but the point is, insurance is the only investment where you can put 1 naira today and it becomes 10 million naira tomorrow. You don't want to get that return because it means something happens to you. But that's the only investment today that you have. So pick a very, very good insurance company and do life insurance for your dependents. You can, again, choose a trustee company as your beneficiary. So that way it doesn't go to anyone that has to start to fight all over it. It goes to trustee company. Trustee company does what you want to do. So that's number 2. You buy life insurance. Number 3, before you do anything else, you start an emergency fund. What's an emergency fund? It is 3 to 6 months of your necessary expenses. 3 to 6 months of your necessary expenses. What does that mean? That means you have to look at your expenses and you say, out of these expenses, what are the necessary things? I'll give you an example. There's food, there's rent. You have to eat. You have to pay rent, right? But maybe power supply, you can say, okay, well, I need power supply. You have to pay that too. If that is necessary, how much of that is a month? How much you pay a month for rent, for food, for power, for instance, right? If it's 10,000 naira, you want to save at least 30 to 60,000 naira. Not in stocks, not in bonds, but in cash or near cash. So you can be in a money market fund that you can get to in 24 hours. It can't be 48 hours. They can't say, we're going to sell it and give it to you next week. 24 to 48 hours. So cash on your cash. 3 to 6 months of your annual, of your 3 to 6 months expenses. That's your emergency fund. Why do you do this first before you do anything else? Because if you don't, and something happens to you, and you've built up this very, very good investment, you will be forced to go sell that investment, right, to pay for what you already have. So you want to do emergency fund first, so you have a buffer. You don't have to go sell investments. Also, you have something that you don't have to go borrow because of an emergency fund. So number 3, you have to do an emergency fund before you do anything. Number 4, you've got to contribute to your workplace retirement scheme, and you have to meet the match. Why number 4? Because it's free money. If you live in the US or in Nigeria, if you contribute, I believe it's 8%, your company is going to contribute 10%, total 18% of your basic housing and transport towards your retirement savings account. Same in the US. The US will tell you if you have a 401k, if you contribute X amount, we will match you X amount. You want to contribute the minimum at least to meet the match. Why? Because it's free money. If you don't have an RSA, retirement savings account, you are missing out on 10% extra on your basic housing and transportation. So why leave money on the table? You want to basically get that done first. Same with in America. You want to basically do a 401k, get the funding from your company, match it, have it locked in. It's there for you. You don't have to spend it. It's just there for you. So that's number 4, contribute to your workplace retirement scheme. Number 5, do your own retirement contribution, your own separate one, right? Why? Because most of these contributions have a tax advantage. If you contribute in Nigeria to an additional voluntary contribution, it is tax exempt, which means when you take that contribution and put it into your retirement savings account, it is not counted as part of your income, which means your income tax goes down. That's in America. That's also in Nigeria. Your 401k, your Roths also have tax advantage. I call tax advantaged account. So you want to do your own. Why are we insisting on you doing your investment extra? Because your most important investment account is going to be your retirement. That's the most important thing you want to save for. Why? When you get older, you can't walk. So whatever you save today, like an ant, you save today so that tomorrow you have enough. You can't walk when you're 80, even if you know how to trade. You can't do it. So you're going to save up today so you walk less tomorrow. So that's why investment is very, very important. It's only after you have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've done your financial plan, you've done your life insurance, done your emergency fund, you've done your retirement account from your company, you've done your own individual retirement account yourself. That's when you then invest. You go buy shares or stocks or crypto, whatever you want to buy. That's when you go do that, right? So you buy stocks or you buy shares or you buy bonds. We're going to talk about how you do that. Then you do dollar cost averaging or naira cost averaging, which means you keep on investing. Investing is a verb. It's not something you do once and stop. You have to keep on doing it. So you keep on doing it, you compound, you rinse, you repeat. You never stop investing. You keep on investing. That, my friends, is how you build a financially secure future. 1 to 6. You can break this down into years of lectures. But 1 to 6, if you want to go, you've gotten the entire lecture today. You can go, but hang around. We're going to go deeper and just give you more insight into this. And I have a picture, right, that just shows what we want to achieve or what this whole thing is all about. When we say want to invest, what are we going or are we seeking to achieve? And I see this picture I'm sharing with you now, again on YouTube, on Twitter. Try to follow. And if you want to speak, don't worry. Once I'm done, I'll add you in. If I add you in, just hang on. I'm going to add you, Jay. Just hang on there. We'll get to all the questions. We've got enough time today, right? Now, this is the visual. This is how you get wealthy. It's a very, very simple picture how you get wealthy. If you look at what I've shared, you have three circles. There's a big circle called earning money. There are 2 small circles called spending and called saving. Everybody is earning money. If you have a footballer, he earns £20,000 a week. That's nothing. He's just earnings. Earnings are not income. Sorry, earnings is not wealth. You can earn as much as you like, but that's not wealth yet. You then have how you spend, and that's where we get into trouble. If we spend more than we earn, then we're in big trouble. So we earn, we spend, and we save. That's the what everybody does. The difference between Warren Buffett and myself and yourself is how we earn, spend, and save. That's the difference. He earns, even if he used to earn the same with us when he was younger, but he did something different in his spending and his saving. So we want to copy him and see, can we do exactly what he did? And yes, we can. The first thing we want to do is we want to spend less than we earn, right? It's very, very simple. Don't spend more than you earn, which means you're not borrowing to consume. You are borrowing to invest. Make sense? So if you just spend less than you earn, you are already on the way to becoming Warren Buffett. Then the next thing Warren Buffett does is he invests the surplus. Because he has a surplus, by not spending all, he invests. Invest where? We'll talk about that. But he's investing. And then when he's investing, he's compounding. So he's investing, he's making money, but he's not chopping his interest. He's putting it back to earn more and more and more for him. There's a very, very smart guy called Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said that the in compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. This is what he meant. You put $1 in, tomorrow is 2, tomorrow is 4, tomorrow is 6, next day is 12, like that, 32. It doesn't really grow so much. If you look at it over 10 days, 15 days, it's just maybe 2,000, 3,000. But suddenly, at the tail end, it becomes 5 million. If you invest a coin, that doubles every day. A coin. So it's one coin. So one kobo, 2 kobo, 4 kobo, 8 kobo, 16 kobo, 32 kobo, 64 kobo, like that. In a month, how much do you think you have in a month? In 1 month? 1 kobo, 2, 4, 8, 1 kobo. In a month, you have 10 million. 10 million. Why? Compounded interest. I know some of you are doing a calculation now. It's not 10 million. No, it's 10 million. Because at the very end, the problem with compounding, it starts to work at the very, very end. Investment is about time, not interest. The longer you are in the market, the better you have your chance of winning. Keep that in mind. So it's a time thing. You can't give birth. You can't have babies with 8 women or 9 women and have a baby in a month. It doesn't work that way. You can't invest everything in 1 month and make money. Wealth is a long-term proposition. So that's the plan for us. And again, when we say we want to retire or our goal is to retire, what do we actually mean? Again, it's not a number. Financial independence that we're talking about, how can we be financially independent, is a sentence. What it means is that when your passive income is more than your non-discretionary expenses. If you want to keep it simple, just say when your passive income is more than your expenses, you have financial independence. It's that simple. I say it again. When your expenses is less than your income, passive income, not your total income. So that footballer we talked about that is earning £200,000 a week, that's not passive income. He has to go to play every day to get that money, right? He has to convert that money to passive income. We are only interested in passive income in financial space. You earn your active income. You have to convert that active income to passive income. Then you compare that passive income with your expenses. I would say expenses, right? But the technical term is your non-discretionary expenses, which are those things that you must invest in. Like, for instance, food, rent, power. So if you say you have to eat, then the income you make from your passive investment must be able to feed you. Once that happens, you can say you are financially independent. It's not by how much you have, but how much your passive income can pay your expenses. So guys, when we're saying we want to be financially independent, that's exactly what this topic is saying. This topic is saying, what can we do to make sure that we earn enough passive income that we then pay our expenses. That's what we're doing today. And once you achieve that, you are then financially independent, which is the whole idea of this financial literacy classes. All everyone is trying to teach you is for you to then be financially, should we say, independent. How can we do that? So I'm going to share again. I hope you guys on Twitter are following the visuals. They are super nice. They are from my book, Let's Talk About Your Money. So if you want to have a place where you have all these visuals, get the book. It's on Amazon. Let's Talk About Our Money. And you can see them there. But again, I'm sharing this very, very nice chart. Again, this is on that chart that I like so much, because just from this chart, I can talk about the entire course just on this chart. And I've shared it is, you look at the boxes, there's active income, and it's number 1. There's passive income, number 2. There's non-discretionary expenses, number 3. There's discretionary expenses, number 4. Then there's a 5 that takes you as an arrow of 5. This, my friends, is what you want to do. This is why you are working. This is why you go to work every day. This is why you are investing. This is just in one box. I can explain everything to you why you go to work in this one box. Now, when you do your accounting, you do your planning, this is essentially what you are going to do. Jay, I see you. Hang in there. I don't want to get you on and off. Once we're done with then I'll add you, then you can speak, but I see you, yeah? So, if you look at this box, number 1 is if you have a piece of paper, you want to design your accounting around this visual you're seeing. So if you're on YouTube or Twitter, it's there. Make sure you look for it. Number 1, have a box called active income. Active income is going to mean all your investments that you make, but you have got to be there. Either you are there physically or your brain is there. But you have to be there. So your salary, let's say you are a director. Someone says, I'm a director in the business. Do you have to go for the meetings? Yes, that's active income. I'm a footballer. Okay, you are playing, active income, right? So anything you have to be there, either your brain or your body, that's active income. So you want to be there, right? Number 2 is passive income. These are the things you don't have to be there, but you make money. Now, someone says, if I own a house, I'm the landlord. Is that active or passive income? That's active income. Because you have to go to that house, you have to fix their bathrooms, their toilets, you got to collect your rent. That's active income. But what if you have a REIT, real estate investment trust, where you just own the assets? You don't have to go fix anything. That's passive income. So you have on the left hand side, you have your 2 incomes. There's active, there's passive. Separate them. Active and passive, separate them. Yeah. Then on the other side, you have your expenses. You have your discretionary and your non-discretionary expenses. What are your non-discretionary expenses? With the things that you have no discretion over. You have to eat. If you don't eat, you'll die. So you've got to eat. That's number 1. Number 2, you've got to at least pay your rent and all that kind of stuff, right? So those are your non-discretionary expenses. What are discretionary expenses? The things you can say, I'm not going to do. You don't have to go for a holiday. You don't have to buy a new jersey. So you can, those are discretionary, is up to you. So if you have these 4 boxes, very simple, active, passive, discretionary, non-discretionary, you put them all together. Your goal is, that's what number 5 is showing up there. Your goal is to take number 2, which is your passive income, and pay your number 3, which is your non-discretionary expenses. Gentlemen, ladies, once you can do that, you have financial independence. So there are a few ladies here. Whatever you want to say, now, guys, forgive me for now. If you want to have real financial independence from your partner, maybe you are in a marriage, maybe you have a business, it's when your passive income that comes to you, can pay for your expenses. Let's say you live with a partner, you live in his house, or maybe you drive a car and he gives you a salary, right? You're not independent because you have no passive income and you have a lot of non-discretionary expenses. You've got to build your own passive income because active might be harder for you to do. So you've got to take money and invest for yourself. So you get passive income that is going to come to you or is sitting there waiting for you. Then you have to watch those expenses because again, it's passive income paying non-discretionary expenses, which means that if he's giving you a salary, that's not passive income. You've got to convert that salary to passive income. Same way, if you have a job, you've got to convert your salary they are paying you to passive income. Every rich person on earth today, every billionaire on earth today has more passive income than expenses. You are not rich because you earn a high salary. You are rich because you've converted the high salary, which is active income, to passive income. That's the trick. And once you can do that, that's when you can truly say that you are financially independent. If you can't say that, if you say I'm financially independent because I have more money in the bank, okay, passive to non-discretionary. Number 5 is when you get free, right? Number 5. So if you're not doing that, you're not yet free. How can you do that? How can you convert from your active to your passive income? Again, guys, look at the visuals. They are pretty cool. You have to have what I call a preferred cash flow option. Most of us here, right, when we get money, what do? We do a budget, right? And we say in our budget, I'm going to pay my NEPA bill. I'll pay my school fees. Okay, what do I have left? I will invest. That's the wrong way. The right way to say, I've gotten income. I pay myself first. I pay myself first. So I'm going to get my income. I just take 10% off. So whatever I earn, I take 10% off. I invest it. Then I pay my bills, my non-discretionary, my this, my that. Oh, Kalu, I don't earn enough money to take 10% off. But you have a phone. You're paying credit on that phone. You're wearing clothes. I see you wearing that nice watch. So you have money for that. So you've got to take money. Okay, if you can't do 10%, start with 1%. I always teach people this. Start with 1% of your gross income or of your net. Take 1%. Are you saying you cannot invest 1%? When I mean invest, I mean don't even invest. Take it out of your active income and put somewhere that you're not investing passive. So I earn 10,000. I'm saying take 1% of 10,000 naira and put it aside and say that's what I'm going to invest. Before you even pay your bills, before you pay your NEPA, before you pay your rent, take 1%. You can do it. It's 1% because I know your phone will work that month. Your phone will work and you're paying the bills for data and voice because it's today, but you don't want to invest for tomorrow. So start with 1%. Take 1% out. It goes to your investing. It goes to your first of all. And after that, you can then pay your non-discretionary and discretionary. You don't want to take your income and pay expenses, then invest. No. You want to take your income, invest, then pay expenses. It's a very, very major shift that is not as easy as I'm saying it. But yes, it will hurt you because you might not have money to spend. But remember what I said, your most important investment is your retirement. If you don't save today, you will not be able to catch up. Investing is time, not interest paid. Investing is time you have invested, not interest paid. Again, look at the next chart I'm sharing. I'm showing you, I'm backing up what I'm saying with numbers. If you look at the delay, if you delay, right, this chart is showing you this. If you delay, let's say this guy was 20 years old and this guy started to invest 200 naira every month at 7% for 65, and he was going to retire at 65. So he invested for about 35, is that it? 45 years. He would have about 239,000. So every month he put in 200 naira every month for 7%. For 45 years, he's going to have about 239,000. But if this same guy waited for 15 years, said, I don't have money, then waited till he got a good promotion, and then started to invest when he was 35. So he waited for 15 extra years. He's only going to get 82,000. So he went from 239,000 to 82,000 naira. So instead of going from 100%, he's only getting 34%. This is not return. This is just how much if you put it in on a fixed income. And this, my friend, is what happens to so many of us. The title of this presentation is How to Build a Financial Secure Future, right? So many of us wait till we make enough money, till we're married, till we're comfortable before we invest. But then they forget that investing is raised over time, not interest rate. You don't make more money because you have a higher interest rate. You make more money because you invested earlier. I ask people this question, it's a trick question and they always fail it. If Dangote puts #1 billion, right, and he only invests for 10 years, but he's put his money on the 9th year, and you invest 100 naira and you invested from day one, who has more money? Everybody says Dangote is going to make more money because he's going to get 1 billion plus. No, it's the 100 naira guy. Dangote is getting a return on his billion, but the 100 naira guy is getting more. The interest, the APY on the $100 is more than the billion. So because that math question deceives us, we think if we invest more, when we earn more later in life, we will make more money. It's wrong math. This is the correct math. If you invest when you earn little and you compound it, your percentage return is higher than if you invest more when you make more. It's just pure mathematics. It's not an argument. So you want to start early. You don't want to wait till you are comfortable before you invest because it might be too late. How do you invest? I have this small chart here, guys, and again, I'll just skip this one. Essentially, what it's saying here is that you have to ask yourself a few questions. For instance, do you want to take risks? And if you want to take risks, you can go left or you can go right. Do you have high volatility, right? Do you want low volatility? The point I'm making with this slide is that investing is a personal choice, right? You can't invest like your neighbor. Because your neighbor is making 20%, you want to invest and also make 20%. You invest according to your objective. If you can't take risk, my friends, please don't trade. Don't trade crypto, don't trade all that stuff because you can't take risk. You don't want to die of hypertension before you can get the money to spend, right? So essentially, the point I'm making is try to invest according to your objectives. There are a few broad objectives that you should have, right? But try as much as possible to invest according to your objectives. Almost done, guys, and I'll let you guys ask those wonderful questions. I love the questions because the questions allow us to learn together. So please, if you want to ask a question, please request. We're going to be almost done with my presentation. This is very, very good. So we set the stage and then we can then ask those questions based on this or any question you have about financial planning. I'll be glad to take them. But this I'm showing you now is the best practice of how you want to invest. You invest according to your age. It's a simple way of doing it. So if you are younger, you can take more risk. What does that statement mean? When people say if you are younger, you can take more risk, it just means if you are younger, you have more compounding periods. It's as if I have 100 goats, I can afford to lose 20. But if I have just 10 goats, I can't afford to lose any. You see the point? So if you have more goats, you can afford to lose. Not saying you should lose the goats, but you can afford to lose goats. So when you are younger, you have more compounding periods. So because you have more compounding periods, you can afford to take more risk. Hence, you take more risk, you buy equities, you take into assets that can compound faster. As you are getting older, you are sort of changing. You are doing more allocation to fixed income, to buy stability. Because now you don't take any more risks. Why? If you lose that money, that's your passive income is gone, right? So you want to transit from a high risk environment to a low risk environment as you get older. This is the simplest way you can do asset allocation. Again, guys, all these figures are from my book. Let's talk about your money. So why I've seen the figure 11 and all that kind of stuff. If you want to do a more deeper dive, get the book, read the book. It's written for you especially, and I use Nigerian examples for you to get this stuff out of the way. Again, if you don't know how to invest, I've talked about my Rip Van Winkle portfolio. If you don't know where to invest, you just don't know anything, you don't even want to know anything, you want to invest, I've picked 4 things for you to look at. 4. You can either buy stocks, you can buy bonds, and you just do 50-50 or 75-40, whatever you want. You buy VTI, that's all American stocks. VXUS, that's all non-American stocks. But these are ETFs that give you broad exposure. So you buy VTI, you're buying about 4,500 American stocks. VXUS, saying you're buying stocks in the world minus American. Same with bonds. BND, you're buying US fixed income. BNDX, fixed income without the US. So in just 4 investments, you have bought everything in the entire world that is quote unquote good, relatively, right? So it's a very simple way to do it. You can say, okay, I'm just going to do 50-50, or I can do 75-40. But remember this last slide I showed you. As you are younger, do more equities. Rule of thumb, as you are younger, as you get older, try to shift towards fixed income. Almost there, guys. And also, I want to show you this, right? I want to show you this because there are so many ways, there are so many apps out there that you can use to do your financial plan. I have one. I have a website. If you guys don't have a website, it's my name, kaluaja.org. On my website, I have a free calculator for you there. I hope you guys don't crash it now. So that you can go there and you can plug in all your numbers and you can try to see how you can build your own financial plan. The first thing is to plan, right? And you can't plan without knowing your numbers and where you are. So this is the landing page of my website. If you look at the top right, where it says on red, where it says financial calculator, that's what I want you guys to go to. So when you go to financial calculator, you then see essentially what is going to open up for you in terms of where you can plug in your assets, your liabilities, and it creates a balance sheet for you. So all you have to do with this, guys, is to plug in your income and expenses. It will calculate every other thing for you. Remember, what are we calculating here? Passive income. We want to know if your passive income can pay your expenses. This calculator is designed to track that for you. So it's not a normal calculator where you do, income, expenses. No, it's designed to tell you how closer you are to that goal. So the very, very first thing it's telling you is this. It's telling you, hey, we're going to do a goals sheet. So if you look at this goals sheet, again, I'm sharing on YouTube and Twitter, it's asking you, what is your age? It wants to know your age. You put your age in there. In this age, I put 45. When do you want to retire? I put 65. It's telling me I have 240 paychecks. So it's taking it to paychecks. You have 240 paychecks, Kalu. That means you have 240 active income events. You have 240 opportunities to convert that active paycheck to passive income. You know how we are in Nigeria? Somebody will die, or somebody will get married, or somebody will have wedding, who will take our paycheck and do that wedding or buy a showcase or whatever. So we've lost that opportunity. You have 240 opportunities if you are age 45 and want to retire age 65 to invest, to convert from active to passive. That's what it's telling you. Then look at your financial goals. It's asking for your big ticket financial goals. You can change this any way you want. In this case, I picked retirement, I picked mortgage, I picked college fund, emergency fund, and a new goal. I just picked this 5. It's asking me how much do I want to save? What do I want to save today? What's the interest rate I want to save at? How long? Then it's giving me the cost, present value. So it's just giving me a picture of what I want to target, right, over this next 240 years. So already, if you do this earlier, it's going to cost you less than if you do this later. Now, let me go into details. Again, it's on the website and it's free of charge, guys. Look at the income and expenses, what we've done here. Again, we've tried to use Nigerian examples. There are many of these things online that just use American examples. I try to use Nigerian examples, right? If you go here, you can see how we've done the expenses. We'll put the non-discretionary and we'll put the discretionary. There's food. So food for non-discretionary is your groceries. You are buying your food to eat in. But there's also food for eating out, because you can decide not to eat out, but you have to eat in. You can't say you're not going to eat. You must eat, either eat out or you eat in. So we said, okay, if you're eating out, that's the discretion. You can say, I'm not going to go to Mr. Biggs, but I'll eat at home. So we'll put it all there for you. You can see toiletries. You have to buy toiletries now. You have to buy toiletries. Subscriptions. You can decide, I'm not going to use cable. I won't go to the gym. I won't use Wi-Fi. That's a discretion. We'll put it there for you. And if you look at how it's done, you list out all your expenses. The more you are honest with yourself and you list out the expenses, the more you are going to get a better result. There's no right or wrong answer. It's based on what you tell it, is what it will give you. If you go to the very end, again, I can't put the whole sheet, so I'm trying to do the screenshot. If you go to the very end, the very, very end, right, of the expenses chart, you will see, let me see if I can get that for you. Yeah, you see this one. You see the personal cash flow statement. Again, what it's doing is that it's taking all what you plugged in. You told it you had active income, it's recording it. You told it has passive income, it's recording it for you, right? So you told it you have outflows, it's recording it for you. Where did the outflows go to? Did they go for you to buy your roll on? Did they go for you to buy shares? Did they go for you to pay back your loans? It's recording where the outflows went to, because not every outflow is the same. If I take money and I buy shares, it's different from if I take money and I go and eat out. It's capturing the different ways you are investing. This is the income and expenses. You have to take your time, spend your time and do a lot of work on your income and expense, because this is the basis of where to give you a result. What else does this chart do? It starts you to track your balance sheet. And our balance sheet here is different from the normal balance sheet that accountants use. In this balance sheet, we are interested in the cash flow associated with the balance sheet. We're also interested in saying you have equity. No, we want to know, is that equity giving you income or not giving you income? So for instance, if you are a quote unquote Omoibo, right? And you have a house in your village. Yes, that house is an asset, but is that house giving you income? Or is that house saving you an expense? That's what we want to track here. So you can see all your savings, fixed income, and all that is giving you opening balance, interest earned, tenure, closing balance, property. If you don't get any income from it, it's just going to just sit there. The idea is to try to push you to look at an asset as income generating and non-income generating. That's what I'm trying to push you towards. When you see your credit card retirement, why is a retirement an expense? Because it's saying this is what you owe. This is what you owe. You're going to retire when you are 40. You are going to live from when you are 40 to when you are 60. That's a liability on yourself. So we're giving you a liability. Again, it's not a normal balance sheet. We are telling you that you have a liability because you have to feed yourself every day when you retire. You can't ignore that liability, right? You can't ignore it. Your mortgage is there. Your student loans are there. Your asset financing is there. Look at your non-interest bearing liabilities. You get money from your partner. That's a personal loan, but it has no interest. So it's there as a non-interest bearing liability. You have a company. You borrow money from your company. We get that. You don't want to pay yourself interest. We get that. So it's going to be this liability, but you're not paying. So again, guys, it's how well and how honest you plug this in is going to give you a good number. At the very end, what it's trying to show you is you see your coverage ratio. It's trying to show you that how much of your investments are going to be covered in your passive income. That's what it's trying to show you. So if you do this properly, it will tell you, guy, you are short by 60%, which means that you only have 40% cover of your asset, of your active assets going to your passive income. So try to do this. And there are many other apps that work like this. If you go online, you can see a cash flow budget. You want to just compare your passive to your expenses. It will give you a percentage. That's your target every year. So you say every year, I want to make my this 20%, 25%, do so and so. And that's how you get a target. Guys, I'm done. It took me about 45 minutes just to walk through the slides, but I think it's well worth it because even if you play back the video or the audio, there are a few things I rushed over. You can take your time and really ask those questions. So now let me take a few guys. Thanks, Jay, for hanging in here. And if you have a question, once you ask on the Twitch or on the YouTube, I will get back to them, even if I have to come back after the session. So guys, Jay, your first, honor to have you ask your question. Go for it.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Kal.
Mm-hmm.
And happy Easter to you and everyone on the space. Is how wise is it to borrow money to invest?
That's a good question. That's a good question because you're asking whys, That's a very, very good question. I would say it really comes down to what you know and the skill that you know. Let's say I work for a company. And my company just got an order from a foreign partner to supply them cassava, for instance, right? And I know that, wow, my company is going to, is going to make a lot of money in this business. Can I go borrow money to buy more shares in my company? Is that insider trading? What if it's announced and I can go borrow money and people don't really understand the impact of what is going on? Can I go borrow money to buy more shares? I'll give you a good example. Helium. Today, any company is selling helium is going to make a lot of money because the helium in Qatar is offline. And America is now the sole swing massive producer of helium in the whole world. So if I know a company that's going to sell helium, can I go borrow money to buy that company? That's what you're asking. I think it depends. If your bet is correct, you make more money. If your bet is wrong, you have a reverse compound interest where instead of making money, you are paying money, Jay. So the answer is not, is it wise? Is your investment choice wise? If you are investing properly, yes. A good way, let me give you a good debt. If you borrow money to buy a house is also an investment, right? Jay, Abby? If you borrow money to buy your house, that's a good investment. You agree, right? But that's a loan. And why is it a good investment? At least you are living in the house and you are not going to pay rent. So it's a good loan because the cost of the loan is less than the benefits of the loan. So it's not an open-ended question to say if you see an opportunity, go borrow money. What if it's a bad opportunity? And it's going to be like, I gave you bad advice. So I would say if you are rock solid sure that this is a good opportunity, then margin, which means you are borrowing, margin can exacerbate your returns and it's going to be good for you. But then who says, who knows? We don't know tomorrow, right? So I would say it's 50-50, bro. If you are sure that what you're going to invest in is very, very good, nothing wrong with borrowing. It's part of the order. Warren Buffett borrows, right? So just be careful that you don't borrow to trade in something you really have no control. You can borrow, put a stop loss. So if this thing starts to go south, you can restrict how much you have lost. There are many ways you can borrow and sort of give yourself a hedge. That's maybe how I'll say it. But just be careful, Jay, about that because it's a good question. But yeah, do you have a follow-up on that?
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
Okay, I got an interesting question here on YouTube. If you are married but your spouse does not seem to be interested in having a financial plan with you and spends at will, living each day as it goes, what do you advise? Wow, that's a tough one because you want to ask yourself, right? I don't go into marriage counseling, but how did you guys get married if you are so far apart on having a financial plan? There is no child plan, career plan, housing plan, holiday plan that does not start and end with a financial plan. So what I'm trying to say is this: whatever you do as a couple, it starts and ends with finance. One of the biggest reasons for divorce is not having a financial plan or not having money. That's one of the reasons most people quote for a divorce. Either there's no money, or there's money but one side is hiding the money, or there's no trust in the management of that money. So if both of you don't agree on money, that's a big problem. And I don't look at it as just money. It's not agreeing on your goals, because we've said here that a financial plan is all about you saying, hey, you want to save for 25 years from today. How can you save 25 years from today if one of you doesn't agree with the concept of our savings? So I think you have to have a talk where you both agree on what you are actually doing. It's not a question of having a budget, but it's having an idea of this is what we want to do. And I think a way you can also operationalize and make this a bit reasonable is to say, have a joint account. Have a joint account and agree what should go to the joint account. So if both of you are earning money have a joint account and say, this is what we are going to cover in the joint account. We're going to pay for NEPA. We're going to pay for insurance. We're going to pay for education. And instead of saying, bring all your money to the joint account, maybe you should say, okay, this is the total cost of our expenses. Both of us are going to share its expenses 50-50. So that means whatever goes to the expenses, we must share 50-50. But then you can spend your own money. So if she earns 5 million and you earn 4 million, that's fine. But you guys go to your joint account and you see we have to pay NEPA. Is that a joint thing? Fine. What about holiday? Is it a joint thing? Fine. What about school fees? It has to be a joint thing, right? So it goes in there. Whatever is in a joint account is 50-50. But whatever you guys get outside, it's going to be, you can spend what you want. For things like pension, remember that if you retire, whoever retires first is going to be living off the income of the other person. So you really can't say, oh, don't worry, don't invest in your RSA. Just spend your money to go to Greece, but I will invest in my RSA. If your wife retires earlier than you, you're going to take care of her. And remember, both of you at this stage cannot earn income. So it's a liability to you to have a partner that brings in no income, but is now older. So you have to say it like that, so that both parties understand that, listen, that's why we put on our budget, we put your retirement as a liability on you. So all the assets you have on your asset column are to pay for your retirement on the liability column. So if your wife doesn't understand it that way, I want to mean your wife, your partner doesn't understand it that way, you're going to be in trouble. Because when you are 65 and 70, there's going to be a liability. And at that stage, I'm not sure you guys can be thinking about separation. So I think very early that you're asking this question, very, very early. Yeah, you have a joint account for children. What about for the other assets? For school fees, yes, you have a joint account for the school fees. But what about the other asset? What about this? What about the retirement now? Because remember what I said, as long as you are living, you are creating a liability. That liability is yourself in retirement. So you need to have assets on one side to pay for the liability of retirement on the other side. So does she have a retirement savings account? The way you can do it is to say both of you agree that both of you are going to contribute X amount into your RSA. So she has her own, you have your own, but you guys are contributing almost the same to your RSA. So that way you guys are both going to get returns. If she retires early, that's fine, but at least she has an RSA and you also have an RSA. When you do a financial plan, remember you're doing a joint financial plan. You can't do a financial plan just for yourself. If you have a partner, you have to do a joint financial plan, because it makes no sense to say you are planning for yourself when you haven't taken into account the income or the expenses of the other partner. So very important, sir. Yeah, I see your response. Very important. You guys have to sit together and do this. You know, if you don't, in the book, right? In this book, Let's Talk About Your Money, we have a whole chapter of money, love, and investing. And I go through from when you are dating to when you are pre-marriage, even to weddings. I go in detail into what you should look out for and what you should talk to your partner about when you are talking money. I did it on purpose. Many, and I don't want to pick on the women or whatever, but you know how Nigeria is. In Nigeria, it's mostly the men that go and look for women, and then the women are like, I want to get married. But what do you look out for when a guy comes and says, I like to, date, I like to get married? What should you look out for, right? Because if you make the wrong mistake, if you go marry a handsome guy that can't balance the balance sheet, you're going to have all the weight on your shoulders. You're going to be the one taking care of the family. So what should you look out for? What questions should you ask? Is it okay to ask about his credit score? Right? Nigeria doesn't have a lot of credit scores, but in America, everyone has a credit score. So if you are Googling this guy, or if you're on a date, should you ask him what's his credit score? Right? Does it matter? I think it matters. Find out what are your plans. Ask what are your financial plans? Where do you see yourself in the next, 10 years? And if you're a lady, you want to hear him mention where you are in the picture. So that's a good trick question. If you ask a guy, where do you want to be in 10 years? And the guy is telling you, I. You want to be a bit careful, because you want to hear we, right? Because he's bringing you in. okay, I'm going to do this while you go do this. I'm going to be working whilst you're in school. Then when you graduate from school, I can retire and go do this. So those are very, very important questions. As a partner, you've got to know your partner's view on money. Because if you don't know your view on money, it's difficult. Very, very difficult. So great questions, and I hope I did try to meet you at least at a certain point. Dr. Thaddeus, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, fine. Good evening,
Hey, good
everyone.
evening.
I don't know. I really cannot see my screen, as a
Oh,
matter of
really?
fact.
Wow. How come?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's glitch. Maybe I'll just try to update my account so that I can, it's always good seeing.
Okay. Do you have a question? You want to do that first and come back? What do you want to do? Okay, let me just go back to DMs. I have a great question here on DM. Okay, yeah, the book is on Amazon, right? So if you want to get my book, it's on Amazon, just the title, Let's Talk About Your Money. The website is just my name, kaluaja.org, org. Go to the top right-hand column, you would see the financial calculator. Go to the financial calculator, and then you can basically plug in all this. Another thing you can do is to just copy this on an Excel sheet. So you don't have to, like, if you don't want to use this, my website, right? Copy this and then you use it on an Excel sheet. So that way you can just build out yours. What it says blank. What's blank? I'm not. It's blank. What's blank? Can you guys see my screens, guys? Oh, Jay.
Yes, sir.
Jay, can you see the slides I'm sharing?
No, I can't.
If you go to the, okay, hold on. If you go, let me do it. If you go from, let me share all the slides I've been sharing. If you go to the tweet about the space, that's where all the slides are. I'm just sharing them now. Let me just retweet it now. So repost. So if you go, Doctor, if you go to the slide where I just retweeted it now, you see all the slides are there on Twitter. So that maybe that's you have to go to under the page that has my the room. I just shared it now. Jay, can you just confirm you can see, Jay, if you don't mind? Just go on, you can see it. All the slides are there. Financial Literacy Week, how to build a future. They're all there. Yeah. So you have to go to the chart that starts off with the space. I just retweeted it. So it's just my last retweet. You can basically see it there and you can just follow. It has all the slides there. I mean, I'm giving this away for not free, but it's a way. So take advantage of it, right? Yeah. So like I said, if you want, you can copy this on Excel. The thing is that this one, I put a few calculations on the page or the website page. So when you are putting in your expenses, like I said, it's calculating all this for you. It's taking your expenses to your cash flow. Because the most important thing here is when you look at the cash flow. If you go to income and expenses, right? Let me just make sure I'm on the right page. If you go to income and expenses on this page and your personal cash flow is going to be at the very, very bottom of your income and expenses. You see the inflow and the outflow. And it will give you that answer. It will tell you that you are under investing or you are over investing. Remember, this is not a 1 year thing. We're not asking you to hit this in 1 year or even in 5 years. This has to go with your financial plan. So what this does for you is that every year you are tracking your contribution towards your retirement. You are saying this year I did 1% to my passive income and I am at 40% of my passive to pay my full expenses. So what is it telling you? If you reduce your expenses, your passive share goes up. So over your life, try to bring down expenses as much as possible, right? If you are paying rent, then you bring down your expense by buying your own house. But then when you buy your own house, if you are taking interest to pay for that home, you have a new expense called interest expense. You see the problem? If you have to invest to borrow, you are taking away cash. So in your balance sheet, you have the cash there and you are earning income. But you have a new liability called interest expense. So there's no free lunch, but you at least programmed your way towards achieving this. Hope that makes sense for you guys. Nothing about retirement plans, and we are 9 years apart in age, so my concern about a solid plan to cover our kids and older age. Yeah, you have to talk to your partner, bro. You have to talk to your partner. First of all, if you guys have no retirement plans, like I said, the most important financial plan you have is not a mortgage, it's not your child's education, it's your own retirement plan, because you cannot work at a certain age. If you save money for your kids' education, but you can't go to work, what if your kids don't want to go to school? What are you going to do? So you have to save for your retirement first before you do any other thing. So if you and your wife are saving for retirement, have a talk together. And there are many ways you can do this. If she's younger, she can save more and both of you are going to be beneficiaries anyways, because you're going to put next of kin and beneficiary on your investment. So you're going to have that. But bro, what I will also advise you is make sure you have life insurance for yourself. Do you have life insurance where you listed your wife as beneficiary? Do you have that? If you can answer, that would be appreciated. Also, I would say, see if you can make get a trustee company as your beneficiary. So if you buy the life insurance, try to see if you can get a corporate as your beneficiary. So your corporate gets the sum assured, and then write in your trust deed, not your will, write in your trust deed that the insurance company should pay for the education of your kids. And when your kids are done, they can give them the money as a bulk sum if you want, or they can give it to your church if you want. So make sure you get that done. That's very, very important for you, right? Yeah, make sure you get that done. I appreciate that. The Dr. Tedious, I saw your text, but right here. Okay, let me just go back to Twitter. A great question here again from Twitter. Yes, in my office I have life insurance and personal. Yeah, but you want to make sure, right, that your insurance, the sum assured, can cover your education of your children, maybe your mortgage. Make sure it can cover all that, because I'm already seeing a few issues you are raising. So make sure you are taking advantage of that to cover that. Just want to be clear, younger people should invest in equities, and if you are older, invest in fixed income. How old is old? Great question. So old simply means compounding period. Compounding period. If you notice, if I pull up a chart for you, I have lots of those charts. If you look at the return on the US stock market from, say, 1929, when they started, right, till date, no other asset class has beaten the return of the US stock market from 1928 or whatever. The market goes up, market comes down. Market goes up, market comes down. But the trend is up. You can find similar in Nigerian stock market, where the returns last year was about 50. What was inflation last year in Nigeria? About 35. Even if you say it's 25, stock market returns still beat inflation in Nigeria, right? Fixed income did not. Stocks did. So over an extended period of time, equities allow you beat inflation. Why? Because you are buying profit and loss. So the company sells products higher, they make more earnings, you get a share of that earnings, and that earnings is reflected in your share price. So all things equal, longer term equity investment, which is profit and loss, tend to outperform inflation and other asset classes in most economies. That's why as a younger person, you can absorb the risk and take more investments, right, in equities than an older person. If I'm 65 in Nigeria, I shouldn't be doing more than 50% of my investments in the stock market. Not because it's bad, not because stocks are going to lose money, but because if they lose money, I lose all my passive income and I'm in trouble. Remember, your objective is passive income. You want your passive income to pay your expenses, which means you don't want to take anything or do anything that impairs that portfolio of passive investments. So it's not that it's a rule of thumb that once you are older, you do fixed income. Once you're younger, you do equities. But younger people are able to do equities more because they have a longer compounding period. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, Hakeem, hope that makes sense. Come back to me if you want to clarify that for you. I know you guys want to ask questions. You're typing questions. I got to go read them to get a good one, because I see most. Yeah, Yeah, book is on Amazon, kaluaja.org. That is the website address, right? Fantastic. Okay. Let's look at this one. Okay, I like this one. Okay. Yeah, so can you talk about the expenses? I have to save first before I invest. It might not be possible for me. I don't have enough to even pay my expenses. So how can I save? Yeah, that's a good question. So everyone says this, I don't have enough to invest. Sorry, to even pay my expenses. But why are you asking me to save? And I don't want to call you out, but you are talking to me online, which means you have enough money to go on to buy data to be online. Listen, it's tough. It's tough, and I get it. If to save money is the hardest thing to do, not just in Nigeria. If you go abroad, there's a data point I saw. I think is it 8 million of Americans cannot afford $600 in 24 hours, something like that. Some chat like that talks about Americans not having funds if you ask them in 24 hours. So it's very, very hard to save. But remember, once you lose today, you can never get it today back. You cannot invest in arrears. You only invest going forward. And remember the chart I shared with you. Delay is dangerous. Delay is dangerous. If you say you are only going to invest when you have a better job, or when you have better income. First of all, let's just get something very, very clear. If you don't have enough money to eat, you shouldn't be investing because you can't even save. So we are talking about you can at least save, you can eat. Then you want to talk about maybe building your emergency fund and the rest, right? If you don't have money to feed, the issue is you're not even earning enough money to start with. So remember those big circles we talked about, you've got to first of all earn money before you can start to save money and start to invest money. If you don't have a job, what are you saving for? You don't have earnings. You can't save without earnings. And if you don't have a job, and maybe today you do this job for your auntie, she gives you money, is that really investing for you? You don't have a job. So investing starts, let's go back to those big circles. The big circles are there. Remember, you see the big circle, earn. You've got to earn money before you can invest. If you're not earning money, your job is to go get a job, right? You have to have a job that can give you income. It doesn't have to be a 9 to 5, but you've got to have something that can give you income. If that income comes and you take money out, you can't go and invest that money because you're going to need it. You don't have a steady job. So if you earn, maybe you are in the market, you are doing a bad job, you get people, take them to someone's shop, then the guy gives you a percentage, you get 10,000 naira in a day. I get it, you take that 10,000, you say, I want to save 2,000 in my pocket for tomorrow. You can't go and invest that 2,000 because you don't have a job. You can keep that 10,000 as delayed consumption, which is what savings is. But you're not yet at the point where you can invest, because once you invest that money and you don't get any of that 10,000, you'll be forced to go sell that money to eat, and you might be forced to sell at a loss. So if you are not earning income, I think the issue for you is I want to first of all get income or grow my income before I can get to invest. Let's assume that you now have income, and its income means it is steady income, not that you have 1 million. As long as the income is steady, then you can take 1% out and invest. I don't care where you invest it. You can invest it in a job. You can invest in those market women that collect money from you daily. You can invest it in the money market. You can invest it in whatever you want to invest in. I'm not too interested in the interest rate. I'm interested in the psychology and the discipline that you can take away 1% of your income and invest. Because once you start from that, it's easier when you make more money to then say, I want to invest 2%, then 3%, then 4%, which is where I want to get you to. So again, it's be very careful that you say, I want to invest when I have no money. No, you have to earn, then save, then invest. If you're not earning, you can't invest. If you don't save, you can't invest. You've got to earn, save, invest. You cannot invest without saving, and you cannot save without earning. Make sense? So once you are earning something steady, you have got to save and invest. Hope that helped. That was a long answer, but I'll just take my time to explain that to you. Let me go back to YouTube. I suspect this guy is writing. Yes, yeah, like I said, okay, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you. But yeah, guys, so if you do we have any questions? No more questions. You guys are good? Yeah, Twitter, when I have to read them, I have to go and find the questions because I have to find them and some are repeating. But when people ask me a question, I do, it's very easy and I could get them. So let me look for this other one. I saw a nice one here about pension. Yeah, pension is 18%. 10%, you pay 8%, your company pays 10%, so 18%. And I'm saying you do that first because there's money on the table. Let's go back to our chart on what you want to do first, second, and third. And I said you have to follow this chart from 1 to 6. Number 1, have a financial plan. Number 2, if you have dependents, buy life insurance. Don't say, I don't trust insurance. There are some big ones that have foreign backers. Go buy from them. Buy life insurance. Remember what I said? You can't invest your life. You are investing the loss of income. You can also use life insurance in a smart way. If you buy a mortgage and you owe 50 million, go and buy life insurance for 50 million. Why? So if anything happens to you, your next of kin, your partner can pay for the mortgage at least. So imagine you are giving your next of kin and the kids interest-free home forever. What other legacy do they want from you, right? They can sell that home if they want to, or they can live in that home if they want to, but you've given them something. And remember, you only paid 1 naira to buy that home, right? Just for instance, and then something happened to you next day, they have the home. Excuse me. So be smart like that, yeah? They won't do an emergency fund. Do an emergency fund, which means that you have enough funds to cover you in terms of emergencies. You don't want to wait till the very end to get an emergency fund going. Then, of course, you want to contribute to your workplace retirement scheme. They want to do additional retirement contributions, an ABC or an IRA, and they want to invest, compound, rinse, and repeat. Yeah? Fantastic. So you have to don't start to invest without buying life insurance if you have dependents. Don't do that. You have to follow 1 to 6. Yeah? Fantastic. All right, folks. Yeah, so then I was going to do something again. Let me see if I can say it here. So there's something I also do. Let me see. Yeah. Come on. Guys, you guys are just too funny. Why are you asking about his wife? He's being honest and he's stating this is real. What he's saying is real life. Many of you are not talking. But he's stating real life because all this finance thing we talk about, when he gets to the home, this is when we see the real event. You want to invest, your partner says, no, I don't want to invest, I want to go to school. What do? Is it better to buy shares or is it better to go and get an MBA in Scotland? This is a real life event. So if you don't agree, even if you make $1 million, there's already disagreement. So most divorces are because people don't agree on money. It's not that there's no money, but you might not agree on money. So it's very, very important. He's asking very, very good questions. You want to make sure you also learn. Oh my God, Twitter. Okay, yeah. So make sure you learn exactly what is going on. Yeah, it's a good question again. Can you go? Let me go back to the chat because you're asking about passive income, right? So you are saying you have 5 homes, you live in one, the 4 homes are in the same compound. Is that passive income because you have a manager? So I get your question. Look at what the point I'm making, right? If you own a home, if you own rental homes, right, and you have to go to those homes to collect rent, if the homes have a broken toilet, you have to go there and fix it. That's not passive income. That's still active income because you are actually engaged. Even though you have people that go and do it for you, that's still active income. You are actively involved. If you go to Greece, will they not call you in Greece to say that their bathroom has broken? Then you have to call someone to go and do it. So that's active income because your brain is there or your body is there. The way to be passive income is if you give it to a company to manage for you. Yeah, you pay them, right? But you give it to a company, so no one calls you, but you just get the income. right? And especially if you are in America, they have something called a 10, it's a 1031, geez, I'm going to get it wrong, 1091, no, it's 1031, let me Google it. In America, they have something called a 1031, let me just make sure I give the right number. Yeah, 1031 exchange. So in a 1031 exchange, if you are a landlord, right, and you have maybe rental property, right, if you sell the rental property, you then pay income tax because you've sold property, you've gotten income, so IRS will tax you. But they have this thing called a 1031 exchange. What that means is that you basically would sell and automatically buy like-kind property. So if I own 5 duplexes that I own, that in that duplex is 5 families, 5 duplexes, I can sell those 5 duplexes and immediately buy an apartment complex. I don't own the apartment complex, I own the paper that owns the rentals that the apartment complex buys for me. So because I'm going like for like, I'm exchanging property for property, I'm not really getting any income. I'm just changing who pays the income from the tenants, the 5 tenants, to apartment complex, from them giving me money to them, me buying ownership in paperwork. I also say, okay, it's a 1031 exchange, so they defer the taxes equal, and the property has got to be equal or greater value. So the apartment complex has got to be either equal or greater, it can be less. So if I do that, I'm able to convert from active income to passive income. So that's what they do over there. They're able to take advantage of that to convert. So if I get older, I don't have to manage all this property. I can sell my property, avoid taxes by owning a different type of property. So I'm a passive income participant, not an active participant. I met a guy a long time ago in America, and he had like 100 homes. And this guy is like not even a real estate guy. He's just, he works for a good company, and he was just buying. He bought 1 home, bought 2 homes. Then the banks know he was buying homes. They will send him, hey, this guy is doing foreclosure. Do you want to buy? He will buy. Oh, we have 10 homes foreclosure. He will buy. He built this portfolio up. At the time, he told me about 130 homes. He has 4 kids. And his plan then was that his 4 kids will come into real estate with him. All 4 are not interested. Some live abroad. So one is doing this. One is doing that. They're not interested in real estate, right? So he's stuck because he's got all this property. He's old. He has the money, but he would have preferred his kids take it from him. In this instance, his plan. This is why you have to have a financial plan. His plan is not jiving for him. He can pay his passive income, right? But his plan was to have his kids take over. So what does he do now? He's got to go and do this 1031 type thing, where he will now convert and just get a lot of money. But that's what he has to do. If he had a discussion with maybe the wife or with the kids 10 years ago, he would have found out, listen, these kids are not interested in this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time accumulating so much property. Same way with the Nigerian guys. We have a lot of folks in Nigeria that are building up these industries because they feel that they're going to pass it on to their children, or they're building homes in Lekki because their kids are going to come back from abroad and live in Lekki, in a big house in Lekki. That might not be the plan of your kids. So be very careful for making plans for folks that are not you and your wife, your immediate family. Anything you are doing after that, you're wasting your time. Not mean wasting your time. You don't know what they want to do. You might build up a company and want to sell the company. Not that they're irresponsible. They have no business trying to run a cement factory in Calago or something like that. So planning is why we put number 1. What's your plan? If your plan involves your kids, make sure you ask them. So make sure you ask them, because if you don't ask them when you are 18, they will just tell you, okay, we're not interested in this, want to move on. Yeah? So say that. I feel that on a legal standpoint, I don't know if you can give an advice. My Facebook every month captures. Okay, so let's talk on DM. Send me a DM, yeah? Bannon, send me a DM. Let's do the real analysis for you. You have my DM, right? You know my Twitter handle, right? I'm going to put my Twitter handle up there. So send me a DM. Let's do a proper analysis of you. Finn, Plan, Carlo, Aja1. Yeah? Send me a DM and then we'll take it offline. Yeah? Mr. Banilon Ads. Send me a DM and then we'll do that offline. Guys, fantastic. I think we've spent some good time here, and I don't see any questions, so we'll have to let you go. The videos are all saved up there for you. Also on Twitter, I've got the videos here. I really can't read most of this text. Some are repetitions of questions. I will try to answer them after the speech, but if I have to stop and go back, it does take time. So yeah, you already have it. Let me just see if any new ones coming. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. And I don't know if you guys are going to be interested. Just okay, so I do this Church of Money thing where I pick a biblical issue and I try to do some money into it. Like this Easter, I did one on Easter and silver, right? And I think it's going to be out on Twitter, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's an article there. It's going to be on Jesus, on Easter, but also on the significance of silver. I find it when I mix these two topics, i.e. religion and financial education, it does tend to get a lot of acceptance because I want to teach, and I think this is good for me to teach as well. So I have it up. I mean, if you go on Twitter, I don't know what Twitter is going to release it. I always front load them. You would see it there. Let me see. Yeah, so I think Twitter is going to release it a bit soon. So it's Easter, a story of Jesus, and silver. It's also going to be on YouTube and all that. Yeah, so I'm also going to do a YouTube post on it. I think it's very educative to understand silver. There are 3 stories of silver in Easter, and they are fantastic stories. The analogies are just fantastic. Why silver? Why did they pay this guy? Why did they pay Judas 30 pieces of silver? You see, everything in the Bible, I find out that to really understand the Bible, I find out that you've got to understand Jewish traditions. And many times we read the Bible, and because we don't understand Jewish traditions, we don't get the full effect. It's just like if you were listening to a Nigerian Afrobeat song, and then you heard the guy say, the guy don't hammer, pepper don't land. You be like, pepper don't land. Oh, okay, he's a farmer. Or the guy don't hammer. Oh, he's a carpenter. You don't get what the guy is saying, and all that. But if you study Jewish traditions, and you say, okay, why did they pay him 30 pieces of silver? Why not 35? Why not 100? I mean, this was Jesus. They were trying to get this guy. This was the guy they wanted to get. Why just 30? There's a reason why they paid 30. It's in there in the article. Why silver? Why silver? Why were there silver guys in the temple? Why did Jesus get angry? He wasn't angry because they were trading, but why was he angry? It's also there in the text, right? And that was the last one about silver. Yeah, the last story about silver is, why silver? Why did Jesus get angry? Why did they pay Judas with 30 pieces of silver? I find when you do that, it's sort of mixing trading and religion, but I think it does work. So if you're interested, it's going to be out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I think it will reach you. On that note, guys, let me call today. I want to let you guys go. Go enjoy the rest of your Easter, and I hope you guys will be here next week again. All through the month of April, we are talking financial planning. So you're going to see those tweets coming out every day. Like I said at the very, very beginning, there are tweets on topics in financial planning. There's emergency fund. We did that yesterday. The day before we did budget. We're going to do a topic every week for 30 days. And I've tilted the topics to sort of be to target the queens and the princesses out here, because I would like to raise the awareness for female folks in Nigeria for investing. Because, like I skipped the data earlier, if you look at the data in Nigeria, I'm not sure how the US is, but Nigeria, female students do not have a lot of investing power. I give you the example. Only about 10% of Nigerians have a stockbroking account. Only about 10%. Of that 10%, only about 5% have an active stockbroking account, i.e. CSCS, right? And if you then go further into that active CSCS, less than 5% are women. MTN, a lot of women invested in MTN. I don't know if because MTN is like bougie, and many women know MTN, maybe because women use MTN, so they invested. More women did MTN than men. But you don't see women in banking stocks or in oil stocks. You don't see them there, but they were in MTN. So maybe something happened with the MTN. Maybe it was easier for them, maybe because MTN did a lot of online registration. but women don't invest in Nigeria. And women need this education, I would say, not trying to be sexist, I would say even more than men, because financial independence really is more needed for the weaker, in quotes, sex. That I mean, when did we just cancel? Just recently, the Supreme Court said that women can inherit property in some part of Nigeria. So I'm not being hyperbolic. If you're a woman in Nigeria, you are up against it because the laws don't favor you, and even the culture and traditions don't favor you. So when we say financial independence, man, it's for you. And you've got to be financially independent, because you know what happens when a guy dies? When a guy dies, you know what happens. I give you a story. When I was, the first car I was going to buy in Lagos, the very, very first car when I got a job, this was like decades ago, nearly decades ago. I'll give you the exact year. It was 99 or 2000. I was going to buy a car, my first job. And there was this car. I know all these Gen Z guys who know what pure water is. You know what they call pure water Honda Accord? Pure water. There's a Honda Accord called pure water. You guys, Gen Z guys are confused. I was going to buy a pure water Honda Accord. Guess how much we were quoting the car for? So, you guys, the car was like 10,000 naira. 10,000. That was very expensive, bro. 10,000 back then was very expensive. And I said, why is it so cheap? Why is it so cheap? They had all the paper, everything was there. Why is it so cheap? And then the guy told me that apparently the guy that was selling the car to me was the father of the deceased gentleman. And he told me his son had passed away. His son had no children. So they were selling the assets of the son because the son had no kids. So that's why they were selling it at very, very cheap. So I was like, okay, makes sense. But I found out the guy had a wife. The guy had a wife, but here were the parents and the brothers selling the assets of the house. Selling the house, the kid, the cars of this kid. It just didn't feel right to me, right? And that's what happens every day in Nigeria. So if you look at the title, it was the guy's name on it, right? If they had put their names on it, they couldn't have sold it. So if you're buying land in Nigeria and you're a female listening to me, don't write the land title in Mr. and Mrs. Kalu. Doesn't make that's not Mr. and Mrs. is not a legal title. You want to write the title in name of Kalu Aja and Kim Kardashian. That's how I want to write the title. You write the full names, your name and the wife's name on the title of the property. On any property you want to have go. Why? Because then both have got to sign, both have got to own it. Because when you transfer title is transferred either by contract or by title. I know if you have a house in some states in the US, some titles are, if someone passes away, there's community property, there's joint title of tenancy and all that. So by default, the person on the title gets the property irrespective of what's in the will. So if you do a will, and I don't know, I'm very careful about Nigeria. In the US, I know this, if you do a will, but your wife is on your bank account, the bank will go with the bank account, not the will. If you have a stockbroking account and you write in your will, my stockbroking account should go to my children or to my whatever, but your wife is the person on the stockbroking account or the bank, they will go with the name on the account, not the will. Not the will. And in some cases, if you marry in some states where they have joint community property or joint right of tenancy, they go with the titling, not the will, not the trustee. You can't go and do a trust and say, I give my shares to my trust, but your wife's name is on the certificate of some bank account. It's not going to work. I don't know how Nigeria works. I know they've changed the laws and all that, but you have to be very, very careful. I don't know if they do joint account in Nigeria, they do beneficiary account in Nigeria, but I was shocked a long time ago. I used to manage some guy's account and the guy passed away. The guy doesn't live in Nigeria. The guy lives in America. And his brother came to Nigeria and got a letter of administration and told the court that the man died intestate, without kids, without a wife and all that. How he got letter of administration, I don't know. But because the man is married in America, he's got kids in America, but his brother ran to Nigeria and got the letters and all that. So you got to be careful. And why was he able to do that? Because the titling is in the guy's name alone. Yeah. I know I'm going fraud, but financial freedom, I'm talking to women. This whole month is women, right? So I'm giving you tricks. This is what I know. This is not what I read. This is what I know. I did private banking in Nigeria when I worked in Nigeria. I did asset management in Nigeria. I did pensions in Nigeria. So I know from the rich to the poor, titling, how things transfer. I know this, and I'm giving you secrets. There's a time I wrote a long tweet on Twitter about what to do when your husband dies. And I wasn't joking. I'm giving you facts. You've got to know all that stuff. Titling, where the assets are. Nigeria's a funny place. So if a guy can come and get letter of administration and to be signed, and he got it in like very, very quick, then he went to all the banks and the stockbroking homes and gave it to them, and was able to get the money. I only found out because someone in the bank called me and said, "Hey, this guy is taking this money. Are you aware of that?" And I said, "Well, which guy? And I called. I said, "Don't give him any money." And the guy I said, "Okay, don't give him any. I'm coming there right away." And the guy left, but you're already taking a lot of money. So just be careful. These things, we don't like to talk about these things in Nigeria because we feel they are, what's the word? They are dark. But you don't want to work all your life and some guy comes and takes your money, right? So it's financial independence. If your wife helps you to make the money, some guy shouldn't just come and take the money from you. Hey, Oxley, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing okay. So I just wanted to chip in some of your last commentary on empowering of women, how the society has been very unfair to the women, based on our culture, based on our legal system. So the point you have made is very germane, which is, the way Nigerian courts work. You can walk into a federal high court or a state high court and get a letter of administration by just rogering somebody. These are things that happen very easily in the courts. The probate department in the federal high court. Once you get in there, there are ways things move there. I don't think that they necessarily authenticate whether you are the immediate next of kin of the person of the deceased person, whether you have the consent. Sometimes even have a family of 6 to 7 people. One person, maybe out of 6 or 7 brothers or sisters, siblings, one person will just go to the letter of probate and say, "Oh, I have the consent of my brothers and my siblings to come and do this." There is no way those guys in the probate have a way of verifying this person that showed up. Yes, is a part of the sons or daughter of the deceased person.
Yeah.
Do you have the consent of your siblings, the entire family, to come and do that probate?
Yeah.
So you see them, they will deal with the person, and tomorrow maybe one of other brothers will come and now realize that they have done one of their brothers have done probate.
Yeah.
And Wala will start in the family. And these are the things that happen every other day in Nigeria.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just to put some context, the gentleman didn't pass away in Nigeria. He passed away outside the country. Then this gentleman also came to Nigeria and got the papers. So, but again, there was no death certificate. I don't think he had a death certificate and all that kind of stuff. Like you said, I don't know what happened. I don't know how he got that letter, but that someone can just come in and get a letter. It's crazy. So I'm saying this just so that people protect their assets. I don't like wills. Wills are easily challenged, and they are not testamentary. When I mean testamentary, things can change. Let me give you an example. If you have a lot of money and you have daughters, and you give your money to your daughters, right? And your daughters get married, right? And your daughter gets a divorce. Who gets the money? Who gets the money? The husband will now. At least to be shared, Abi. So you can write a will and say, "I give access to my daughter." Your daughter goes and gets married. The guy and the daughter are divorced. The guy will get something from the account, right? But if you have a testamentary trust, you can say only offspring of my daughter can inherit this property, which means if your daughter gets married, only her kids from her can inherit the property. The husband cannot, but any children that she has can. That's, you are talking beyond the grave. So you've got
beyond reality.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, all this stuff I'm telling you, I don't want to. I'm being very, very careful not to start to give you proprietary information. But I did, like I said, I did private banking, I did asset management, I did pension. So people pass on. You see stories. I've seen where the kids took their dad, took him to the village, locked him up in the village, came back and said their father is late, and they had newspaper articles saying their father has passed away, and they were going to get a pension of their father. And it was only at the very end the father was able to come out, tell someone in the village, and the village people called and all that. So don't take these things like it's not Hollywood, guys. It's real life. So the title of the space is How to Do a Financial Plan for Independence. You don't want to work, save, and see dissipated because you didn't have a financial plan. So there you get that. I'm trying to get a good lawyer that can come and just walk you guys through. I think I brought some guys from the ARM, 2 ladies, and they were very, very good. They came and talked to us about how to plan out. I'll see if I can get them back again, because some of you leave that place not guarded. I have a good question here on YouTube, Oxley. So let me do Oxley. Let me do Rex, and I'll let me do the YouTube speech. This lady is asking me, right? She says she earns 150,000 naira per month and she wants to do a financial and investment plan. Okay, so let me ask you what I did done before you come back to me. Out of that 150,000 naira, if you take away your necessary expenses, just if you have to eat, maybe you pay rent, anything that is necessary, what do you have as net? Come back to me, then I'll continue with you. Let me get Ifrex. Miss E, come back to me on your net income. Let's see if we can do a plan live on Twitter. Ifrex, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Kalu.
How you doing, sir?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing very well. What's happening?
All is well at the moment.
At the moment.
So, I know my question is unrelated to what you people are talking about right now, but it's about personal finance in general. I've seen, I think you are the one that started the post about forex trading. I think about 24 hours ago, and still has been trading all over Twitter is buzzing. Some people are objecting your opinions. Some people are taking it like it's true. And this is me coming to ask you here, as someone that has worked in private banking, according to you, asset management and pension fund, which means that you have had a primary knowledge of the financial sector and you really know what you are talking about. So does it mean that retail traders do not make money at all from the forex market? That's my question.
Yeah, so if you look, what I've been tweeting, I think I did 3 tweets. What I've been tweeting is...
Hello, Mr. Carlo, are you there?
Yes, I hear you. Let me mute you so you have an echo, right? Okay, no, I'm just going to mute you. Okay, so what I've been tweeting around Forex is that I've noticed something, right? And I get a lot of comments. People send me comments on DM. People ask me questions. There's this thing going on in Nigeria about Forex trading. Lots of people are capitalizing on a real legal means of trading a commodity and a currency to, should we say, what's the word now, to hoodwink lots of unsuspecting Nigerians into taking their monies from them, to either train them or to guarantee a profit from them, right? So what's going on is that people will say, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do Forex. Then you have to register with me. Then you have to register for training. And that's the way the fraud is. they take 200K from you to teach you how to do Forex. Your total capital to do Forex is like 500,000 naira. They take half of it for training. Then they tell you, okay, go and buy, we're going to give you signals. And these signals are guaranteed you make the money back. That's wrong. That's not Forex trading. That's completely wrong. And those are the guys I'm trying to call out. If you read the tweets I'm reading, you will know exactly who I'm talking about. And it's there. The folks that are doing education, quote unquote, that are guaranteeing returns, that is not trading. You are deceiving people. Again, if you look at the Nigerian investing public, who are the bulk of the investors? The bulk are folks aged 25 to 45. These guys no longer buy shares. They are doing sports betting. And second, they are doing Forex trading. Third, they are doing stocks. This is data I'm sharing with you. Data. Why? Because they believe that you can make more money betting sports, trading Forex, than doing stocks. The richest men in Nigeria are all in the stock market. Dangote, Elumelu, Rabiu. They don't do sports betting. That's just a beside. But I'm going after the folks that are offering guaranteed profits or selling education that is not impactful. They are taking advantage of the poverty of young people. Someone tweeted me that you can take 500,000 naira and make it 25 million in 3 months. That's impossible. That's 10,000% return without making a loss. Those are the guys I'm going after. If you look at the tweet I made, there's nothing wrong with trading Forex. Forex trading is, you have a derivative, you use it to hedge a position. But I can trade off you and say, well, I think you are wrong, so I'm going to trade off you. But that's not what we're doing today. We're doing, you take 1K, you buy this, sell this. It's gambling covered in Forex language to make it look legit. If you are trading Forex, good on you. But don't deceive people and don't get young people to give you money so that you can say you want to teach them how to do Forex. I hope I'm a bit clearer, Erex. All right, fantastic.
Yeah. That is very, very clear. So what you mean practically is that there are real Forex traders and there are scammers, which is often experienced in almost every industry. But it's just that we have more scammers.
You've got to call them out. You've got to call them out because it's not a very, very big sector. You've got to call them out. I was calling out MBA Forex. I was calling them out when they were in Nigeria. Calling them out. Say, this is not real. You cannot have any, you can't have guaranteed. Anytime you see anything you see on earth, not even Nigeria, anything you see guaranteed and trading is a fraud. Hear me again. Anytime you see guaranteed and trading, it's fraudulent. Anywhere you see it, guaranteed and trading together, it's fraudulent. And that's what they were doing. But no one listened. Now the guy is somewhere enjoying his billions that he stole from people. So be very careful out there. Not everyone that you see is doing finance is finance. There are many, social media has a lot of fake stuff. And that's what I'm calling out. You guys in Forex should be able to say, we're going to start to try to police ourselves a bit here. I can just open up a site and say, come, I'll train you, pay 1 million. People will sell their goods, come and get trained on Signal, whatever that means. And then they go and try to trade and lose money. That's what I'm calling out. So that's not, we have to call them out. You guys are in that field, call them out, yeah? All right, let me take Adu Benga. Hey, Benga, how you doing? Thanks for hanging on.
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you very much. I want to comment first on the your first point about prenup and all that. So I stumbled on this podcast today about PBD, the Iranian American guy. So he brought a billionaire to his studio. So they were talking about the prenup and how to protect their wealth. So what the man said was he's a billionaire and he has children and they are all married. And you mentioned something that if the children get married and there's a divorce, they will go with part of the, the properties and everything. So what he did was he put everything in, I don't know what they call it, in a trust. And he said for any of the children to have access to this, they must sign a prenup. So they have to tell their partner that for them to have access to any of their father's investment, the criteria is for them to sign that prenup. That's the only way he can protect that. So he's taking that it as the bad guy instead of the children. So the only option they have is either you don't have access to your father's properties and investment, or you sign the prenup. So that way, they protect the business, they protect their investments. So I believe personally for rich people, they just have to do that to protect their source of income. I mean, no matter how you trust people, things can go wrong. Nothing is guaranteed in life. So that is on that. So my second point is about the topic of the day, financial literacy. For me personally, I think based on situation in Nigeria, I feel the focus should be more on how people can make money, because it's when you make money that you can invest. You can't be making 100,000 and you cannot even sort out your basic bill. You can never have money to invest. I doubt, to be honest, especially if you are living in Lagos, it's going to be very difficult. So it's when you have more money, at least to some extent that you can cover your basic bill, then you have enough money to to invest and all that. But when you are still struggling to even make the ends meet, investment will be the last thing on your mind. And for you to even invest, you need some layer of security like emergency fund and all that, so that in case anything hits you, you can use your emergency fund to cover it while you protect your investments. So with the poverty rate in Nigeria, how many people can even have emergency fund in the first place? So that's a whole lot of issue. My third point is about the forex something and all that. I think all those things trend in low-income country like Nigeria, because everybody wants to get rich anyhow they see fit. And people don't understand how money works, that when you enter all this financial stuff like that, you have to set your mind that, okay, if I'm going here, you can lose everything. And if you don't want to lose everything, there are principles to it. You can't put 10 naira and you want to get 10 naira tomorrow. No, that's like 100%. But if you put your mind that, okay, the maximum maybe I can make is 5%, 10%, so you can balance your trading if you are into that. But when people want to, they want to turn it around, within 1 month I put 100,000, I make 100,000 the next day. It doesn't work, but that's what the influencers will tell them, because they know when people are poor, they are more prone to things like this, and that's how they make money. And it's terrible.
Yeah, I hear you, but
thank you.
Yeah, a lot of comments, right? There'll be a lot of comments. So we can use poverty and fraud as an excuse. Let me tell you the demographics of forex traders worldwide. They are very young. They are very impressionable. When Wall Street wants to hire traders, they always hire young traders, because you can tell them things and they believe, and they actually try to get it. If you tell a kid today you can fly, he will jump off a building because someone told him he was Superman. So they are very young and impressionable. Same thing in Nigeria. If you notice, most of the kids that do this trading are trading with 100,000 naira, because someone has told them if you trade 100,000 naira, you can make 1 million in a week. That's what I'm talking about. You can't tell people that. You can also go and say, I'm going to teach you how to do forex. And once you come from my forex class, guarantee you're going to make money. We can't use poverty as an excuse, because it's the same thing in forex, in sports betting, even in stock broking. Stock broking it's very, very it's legal. We have regulators, SEC and all that, but still you have folks even in stockbroking that will say things like, oh, invest in this, and you may guarantee this. How many times did we talk about the agricultural schemes that were there a few years ago? When I spoke about them, the same vitriol I got it now. When I spoke against Forex years ago, the same thing, I said it now. MMM, I can fish out my tweet on MMM when I said MMM was a fraud. what happened. So it's not an excuse. People are just taking money from poor people that are desperate because they want to trade their way out of poverty. They're not giving them education. You can't do this. It's better you go and buy rice and sell the rice than trying to trade with people in America that have more information than you. It's luck. You make a profit today, it's luck. There's no knowledge behind that profit. There are a few guys in Nigeria that make a lot of money from Forex. I know a lot of them that are legit trading. They've got their Bloomberg or they've got a similar app. They have a lot of liquidity. They are legit doing business in Nigeria and making a lot of money. But not everyone is like that. But the way it is sold on social media is that it's like that. Right now, many countries are stopping, company. If you're not a trained or with a license, if you don't have a license, you're not allowed to post anything with finance on social media because of the same reason. Very soon to happen in Nigeria. If you're not a trained person, they'll let you post anything to do with money online. Why? Because people are taking advantage of it. So I'm not the issue. I'm just talking. But what I'm saying is true. There are a lot of deceit going on. I can show you a few pages that people have shared with me. A few. Look at this is let me share with you this. I'm going to share this tweet I did this tweet in the year 2000. Someone sent me the MOU from MBA Forex. That guy, MBA Forex, and told me, is this real? I told him, guy, it is not real. Do not invest. Do not invest. I just retweeted it. The guy went and invested. He told me he won't invest. He went and invested. He lost all his money. I told him, don't invest. He went and invested. Because you don't have to be a genius. It's right here. 15% a month. They're offering 15% a month every month. 2,000. So where's this guy today? MBA Forex. Where is he today? He's gone. He's stole nearly 200 billion. Nearly 200 billion. Wow. So, I don't know. Okaifo, how you doing?
I'm perfectly fine, Omo. I love the discourse. I so much love it, and I've been following it. See, I always encourage conversations like this. When people critique or call out or question, it is left to those who are for or against, those who are for to bring counter arguments to the table. And most of the comments I've been seeing is, this guy don't know what he's saying. This finance guy don't know what he's saying. These are what the old slugs usually say. They don't know that. That is not a reason. If you have something to counter an argument, you articulate yourself and you make it known. That is what I've been looking at for. I've checked the codes, I've checked most of the replies, and lo and behold, none is there.
Yeah, I'm seeing the tweet from the person that asked me if we should invest in MBA first, and I said no. The person that deleted the tweet now. It was in 2021. 2021. So again, it's your money. It's your money. So it's your money. So I'm just saying, just be very, very careful out there. I put a tweet. It's not illegal to trade Forex, and lots of people make money. But you guys are pushing it. It's not just Forex. It's all this. There's too much filth on social media. Either you buy binary option here, or you do AI this one here. It's all the same thing. Once it is trading, you can't guarantee it. So if you can't guarantee it, do you say that upfront? Pull up any secular, anyone. You would see it in red. This is not a guaranteed product, blah, blah, blah. Do you have the same in Forex or in commodities? No, you don't have it. So people don't know. And you don't tell them. So they think, if I trade, I might lose here, make here, but eventually I'll make money. And that's why they get into trouble. So that's all I'm saying, guys. If it's your money. All right. Haifo, did you have anything else to add before we call it a day? It's been a long day.
Yeah, so I wanted to what happened to the allure of brick and mortar business? Is that not supposed to be the hustle?
Not really.
Why?
Not really. I mean, we're in the age of the internet, so we can't. What are the largest contributors to GDP in Nigeria today is agriculture, trade, IT, and telecom. Right? That's where we are at the age of today. So anything online will make you money. As a matter of fact, anything AI today will make you money. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to hire for, yeah? You see the point I'm making?
Yeah.
Just be careful. I mean, you can't do anything without knowledge. When the reason why I got into finance was because I watched Gordon Gekko on Wall Street. I didn't know what he was doing, but he dressed well. He was so more confident. He was buying this airline, selling this airline. I said, what do this guy is doing? I remember, I wrote it in my book, I took 500 Naira. First Bank, it was Standard Bank. Standard Bank was selling their shares in First Bank. It was being sold. I saw the poster. It was 50 kobo for 3 Naira 25 kobo. In my mind, I thought you buy it at 50 kobo and you can sell it at 3 Naira 25 kobo. So I calculated, okay, I'll go to Lagos, because back then there was no internet, there was no telephone, there's no internet, there's no cell phone, there's no internet, it's paper. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to Marina, go to First Bank, and use my 500 Naira was like 500k. How did I get the money? I went to the village. One chief gave me money because I was my dad gave me 500. That's what it was, like 500. I was like 500k. So I took 500k, quote unquote, to First Bank, and I said I wanted to buy. I told the lady, I walked into First Bank. That was on Marina. I said I want to buy these shares. They said, how much do you have? I said I have 500. I said, okay. I don't know that lady's name. If I could get that lady, I would so thank her, because the way she talked to me was why I won't continue. Because she knew I didn't know what I was doing. She said, okay, you want to buy this? I said, yes. I said, I want to buy the one for 50 kobo. She said, no, it's not 50 kobo. It's 3 Naira 25. I said, so I can't buy 50. I said, no, you can't buy 50 kobo. It's 3 Naira 25 kobo. And you can't buy it here. You have to go to, she told me I should go to Daily Times building, which was across Marina, behind Marina, that all the brokers are there. Because back then there was no internet. If you want to buy shares, you go see a human and they'll buy. So I walked there and I gave them the guy my 500, and the guy bought me the First Bank shares. That's how I started buying shares, right? Imagine that woman had told me, oh, don't worry, just give me the money, or you make so and so. Or she had told me, no, you can't do anything with 500 Naira. Then I would have never gone, I would have just gone away. Because I was very, very young. I didn't know anything. But I had to then go find out. I didn't know jack about this. So I started to read. I remember there's no internet. So how do you find out about stocks if there's no internet? I would go to the stockbroking guy's office. They had this daily, whatever they print every day. I'll just sit there and I'll be looking at it. Then the guy will give me a book. The trader, I forget this guy's name. Old guy. I don't know the broking firm. I've forgotten their name, you know. But most people don't want to read and understand, especially young people today. I don't sound like an old grandpa. But you've got to read this thing. It's easier now to learn about anything on. Just go to YouTube and put, teach me how to buy stocks, or ask Grok. It will give you free materials, video, text to teach you. You can put it in your ear, get into your cab, and you're listening and you're learning. It's so, you can learn anything. You can do Harvard courses on investing. You can see what Warren Buffett is buying and selling on the internet. It's so much information. So why would you believe one guy that is telling you in one small dusty town in Nigeria that you can give him money and he will train you? Why are you paying the guy when you can get it for free on YouTube and the rest? Why are you paying? Why should you pay for, if he's making guaranteed profit? Why does he want your money? Don't you guys think? I don't know. And it's your money though. It's your money. Jay, what's up? Mr. J. Olayinka, what's happening?
Yes, Mr. Kalu. I appreciate what you say. Just to buttress some of the points that some of the other speakers have made. See, we're in the age of information now, and there's a whole lot of resources that you can, use to leverage. I know some of us are Christians here. The Bible says that a fool is soon parted with his money. This all this forex, come and invest in this, you get this sports betting. That is the fastest way to kill a man, really. if you take a very close look at it. So I came across shoes. I think it was like 2 years ago or so. The first stock I bought was from GT Bank. I actually borrowed that money from OPay to buy those stocks. And ever since then, I've been consistent. So I've been posting on my WhatsApp. A friend of mine, she was like, "Oh, like Joel, what's up? That she has been seeing this my stuff that I post on WhatsApp that she would like to, just she has some free money. She doesn't know what to do with it." Could you believe that, Mr. Kalu? Okay, she bought some telecommunication company. I don't want to mention. It has gone up by over how many percent now? This last year, she even told me she got dividends paid to her last year. She was like, "Oh, just recently now, I think that was earlier in January, she invested over like 2M. She got celebrated her birthday in January. She invested like over like 2M. So I get it like, oh, you do this based on what you've been teaching us on this platform. You can do the Nigerian market, you can do the US market, just have a basket, ETFs, REITs. So, see, guys, sports betting and all these things, it kills. There's a whole lot of it.
So I want to say it properly, right? Let me say it properly for you, right? With sports betting, you know what you're getting into. You're gambling. It's a gambling. But gambling is addictive. Gambling is addictive. And if you as a young person get into gambling, it's difficult to come out. They have extensive courses in the States to heal gambling. It's not something you can easily drop. So I would tell you this, don't start it. Because if you start and you win, my God, you're going to be in there for life. You will not stop gambling even when you're retired and you have no money and you can lose everything. So I would advise you, don't start it, because once you are in, you can't get out of it. So don't gamble. There's a casino like a few miles from my house. Sometimes we go there because their food is cheap, their beer is cheap, they don't pay taxes, they are Indians and all that kind of stuff. And you play the thingy, you throw the whatever on the cap. That's recreational stuff. But don't ever, this thingy you can watch Arsenal and Chelsea play all day long. But I assure you, once you start to gamble, man, I mean, look at it. So let me give you the data. 5.7 trillion Nigerian youth. There's no money in Nigeria, be 5.7 trillion. Let me give you the exact number to show how much money is in gambling. I don't want to talk about gambling here, because that one they'll just come to me with pitchforks. Let me give you the exact number of folks that are gambling. 5.6 trillion. Nigeria. These are kids. 25 to 45 gambling have accumulated 5.6 trillion in bets. How many? So the total number of Nigerians that trade Nigeria, 6 million. The total active CSS accounts, 600,000. Total active 600,000. Women that trade less than 200,000. But gambling, everybody's there. 30 to 50% of Nigerian adults, 60 million people are gambling. 60 million in Nigeria are gambling. Everywhere, and it's so easy. I'm writing on it. I'm writing why it is so easy to do gambling than to do stocks. That's my article. It's going to be out in Nairametrics pretty soon. But it's crazy. And the real reason it sounds at poverty in a bit, yeah, it's true, but it's like the gambling guys are a bit, quote unquote, air quotes, smarter than the financial sector. They've made it seamless. If I want to gamble today, I don't need much. Do you pay fees when you gamble? No, you pay fees when you win. But to buy shares, I pay this, I do CSCS, I do this one. What I win or I lose, I still pay. You see what they're doing? So, guys, we gotta go. Ohaifo, real quick. And I have to answer my lady on YouTube on just asking me a question. Ohaifo, what's up? Go real quick. Then I have to go and...
Yeah, just a quick question. One thing I've noticed about the Nigerian forex market is that the participants there, they are usually under the age of 35, like between 20. So the question I have is, why are millennials not really doing forex? Why are 36 to 40 not really doing it? Was it not available to them in their day?
Because they've been
I'm
burnt.
not the first to adopt technology.
They've been burnt. So there's a data. I saw this data set for forex. 80% drop out. The ones that stay, only about 10% stay. And when they stay for 4 years, they start to understand the market, they can make money. But 80 to 90% drop out in the first year. So what you see is that many people get in when they are young, lose money. Then by the fourth, fifth year, they understand what's going on. But maybe by then they are married and their wives won't let them go and do forex again, or they have more things to do. They have to buy Pampers. So they just maybe face childcare and forget about forex. Because if you really want to do this stuff, it's very, very time consuming. Look at what's happening today in Iran. Did anyone foresee what's happening today in Iran on trading? No one. And even today, did anyone foresee that planes would crash? No. Who foresaw COVID-19? Nobody. And these are all trading signals. All trading signals. There are things that are going to happen tomorrow that I don't foresee in trading. So it's a very difficult thing to do. Those that do it well are very educated. You can't be an ignorant guy and trade profitably. They're very, very educated. I'm not even educated. They know that they went to school. But they watch CNN. They follow what's happening. They can tell you there's a fire happened in Brazil. They know what pairs to buy and what pairs to sell. So it's not a thing that you just wake up and say, I'm a trader. No. I salute them. They know what they are doing. But I'm saying, sell it properly. So if people want to get involved, they know that they know the risks. Don't say it's a guaranteed thing. Don't take all these young boys that don't have no money. They go and borrow money or sell their father's gate and then take money and want to buy pounds, euro pair. That's what we're going against. Okay, so I'm back to this lady about Miss E. So Miss E, question for you. So if you want to trade, right, you want to build an investment plan. This is how I want you to do, right? If you draw up your expenses one more time. You can use what I've shared. Now, I've shared with you my website, kaluaja.org. You can go there and use that financial planner. Do your expenses, right? I want you to tell me how much. DM me if you want. I want you to pick a figure that you're going to take every month from what you make and you're going to save. If you can guarantee or if you can tell me that I'm going to do this every month, I'm going to save this amount every month, okay, I'll work with you, and then from that savings you have, I will show you where you can invest for long term. But you have to give me the discipline that you want to save. Let me give you the figure, 10%. I want 10% of your income. You're going to bring out, I can manage 8 to 10. You can bring out that you want to save. It has got to be from your income. I don't want the one you're going to get from anybody else, from your income. If you can say you can bring that out, then we'll now go to the next step. We'll ask you, do you have dependents? If you have dependents, go and get life insurance. If you don't have dependents, I'll ask you, do you have a retirement savings account? If you don't have it, you're going to go get one from me. If you then say you've done all this, we'll then start you off with a few ETFs according to your age, so that you take advantage of the long-term planning and investing. You reinvest your dividends. So if you think you want to do this, we can work for a year. We can work from now till December. I'll use you as case study. Not case study, a case study, right? As long as you can say you can commit that you want to save at least 8 to 10% of your income. Sure, send me a DM or talk to me here and we'll set it up. Guys, we gotta go. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me. It's on YouTube. Support us on YouTube, on Twitter. Get the book. The book is super. Let's Talk About My Money. It's on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll let you guys go. If you guys want to do that, if you guys want to have that session on this piece of silver, should we do it after now? Who wants to do the silver? Why 30 pieces of silver on Easter? If you guys want to do it, we can close this space, then do a new space and talk around Easter and silver. I think it'll be fantastic. What do you guys think? If you guys want to do, let me know. What night we'll do some other time. On that note, folks, I gotta let you go. Thank you so much. Love you guys and appreciate you. I'll see you next week here, 7 p.m. West African time. Take care of yourself and bye.